These spreadsheets are so eye-opening. The numbers you see on them can help you avoid costly mistakes. What are we talking about? On this channel, folks, we set up spreadsheets and run numbers for you. We look at all these different possible variables. We run the numbers for you just to show you what might happen in the future. What we do is look at the last 100 years of data, the returns for the S&P 500, and we simply project ahead what similar returns might do for you in the future. And that can give us some kind of idea of where you might be in the future. Let me just show you how this works. Let's say, for example, you're reaching retirement age. You got 600,000 saved up. You figure you need 5,000 a month in expenses. You figure you're going to get 2,000 a month from Social Security. And we're going to go ahead and run the numbers to see just where you would be. We're also going to do a 60-40 asset allocation, which means 60% stay in the S&P 500, 40% going over into some bucket. It's more liquid, so when the market's going down, you're taking these kind of sums out of that instead of the S&P 500 because you don't want to sell low. So that's some of the variables that we're going to change here. What we're going to do is run it for every single year for the last 100 years. I want you to notice we're at a 6% withdrawal rate right now. If we're taking 5,000 out and 2,000 a month is coming from Social Security, you're going to need 3,000 a month coming from your nest egg. How will that work out? Using the numbers for the last 100 years, we're going to see what you would have left if the returns were like 1925 and so on. After 10 years, after 20 years, and after 30 years, these are the actual numbers showing you right here where you would be. If we had numbers like 1925, even though it started out really good with 4 good years, and you had 4 down years, and folks, it looks like 20% of the time you'd actually run out of money doing a 60-40 asset allocation. Here's the actual graph. Looks like if we had returns like around 1929, you have problems. Around the late 60s and definitely around the year 2000. And you can see it very clearly when you have consecutive down years, that's when you have issues. Again, this is 100 years worth of data. The 1930s was a bad decade. A couple years in the 1970s, 73 and 74 were down 14 and down 26. And also the year 2000 more recently. That's why you see the graph having issues with those different time periods. Most of the time you'd be just fine. What percentage of the time? 80% of the time, 80.2% of the time, you'd be fine. But there's that 20% that you'd be out of money in 20 years. What could you do differently? Well, folks, we got it at a 60-40 split. Let's just see if a 70-30 split helps. If you leave a little bit more in the stock market, which that may seem like it's going in reverse order because mostly people say to get more conservative once you reach retirement. Watch what happens is 20%. Again, this is what's left after 20 years. We get to a 70-30 split. Look at that. Just that difference from 60-40 to 70-30. Now you got an 11% failure rate, which on the graph, it looks a lot better. You still got the problem if we have returns like the Depression years and also around the year 2000. But all of a sudden, the late 60s and early 70s aren't a problem anymore. It's getting kind of low, but your money would last just going from a 60-40 to a 70-30. Isn't that amazing? Now, another issue we want to take into account is what about taking Social Security at a different age? What if we're somebody 62 years old and they take it immediately? They need 5,000 a month. They're getting 2,000 Social Security, but they want to know where they might be if they take Social Security at age 65. But we need to actually run the numbers for that. Right now, I've all set up what the numbers would be. All calculated based on age 67, what you would get at age 62. There's the 2,000. What happens if you take it at age 65? What you're promised at age 67, this 2857 is going to grow to 3077 because you get a COLA every year. So that's 3 years later. That's what this 2857 would grow to, 3077. But that's at age 67. You're going to take this at age 65. Hopefully, I'm not losing you. You get 86.67% of this 37.7. But since you're taking it at age 65, you're going to get 2667. 2667. I want to make sure I've got these numbers right. And you're taking that in the 4th year. Again, age 62, 63, and 64, you're taking it out of your nest egg, this 5,000, growing by 3% a year. You can see it going down through there. And finally, in the 4th year, Social Security kicks in, so you don't need that much coming from your nest egg. So let's see how the numbers might work out. Is it going to be higher or lower with the 11% failure rate taken at age 62, but waiting till age 67, you'll get more, 65, you'll get more but you're also eating up some of your nest egg quicker. How about 11% to 10%? It actually helped a little bit. Actually helped a little bit. Not much, not noticeable probably, but just a little bit. What else could we change here, folks? This is what we can do on this channel, run all kinds of different numbers. Let's go back to the taking it at 62 with 2,000. Updating that with a 70-30 split. I think that was 11% failure rate, and a 60-40 split was a 20% failure rate. What happens if we just go change this withdrawal rate from 6% to 5.6%? Watch what happens, folks. Just that $200 difference going from a 6% withdrawal rate to a 5.6% withdrawal rate. Everything else left the same. 11% failure rate, updating to a 9%. What would it take to get down there so it's close to maybe a 2% failure rate, being the depression type years? We go to a 5% withdrawal rate. We're getting closer and closer to the 4% rule. But we do 4,500. Everything else remains the same. Now you're at a 4% failure rate. So again, we do a 60-40. This is showing you all kinds of different variables here. Looks like this 70-30 is the best, but I just want to check it one more time. I didn't run these ahead of time. 60-40, we're just going to make it worse or better. Going to a 60-40, basically stay the same. Basically stay the same. That's interesting. Again, it all depends on how much you're taking out, what your asset allocation is, and when you're taking Social Security. All those different variables affect all of this. That's why we really need to look at all these different numbers and run them at all kinds of different variables, which I'm happy to do for you. If you put in the comment section you want me to run numbers, I'll go ahead and do it. That's what I love to do for people. We just love showing people actual numbers. We love to bring into account sequence of returns risk. That's what happens when the market when you first retire, if the market goes down, that can really affect how long your money is gonna last. If these 1929 numbers, you can see you're out of money in 15 years. Why? Because you had 4 down years to begin with. If we go to the year 2000, which was another problem area, right here, you're out of money in 17 years. Why? Because you had you retire in your first 3 years, it's going down. So you may have to go down to 4,000 a month, which would be 4% rule, and then you'd have 194,000, about a third of your money left after 20 years. You'd still be running out of money in less than 25 years with the 2000. That shows you how important those initial years are. If you start out with some down years, that's the sequence of returns risk that we're talking about right here. But that's in this video, we kind of looked at this. We kind of looked at your asset allocation, and especially the 4% withdrawal rate. How close you can get to the 4% withdrawal rate and still have a comfortable amount that you can live on. Of course, we also looked at when you take Social Security. But I just want to show you all the different variables. I've thrown a lot at you, but please consider subscribing. Please share this channel with others. Let people know there's a unique financial channel out there that sets up spreadsheets and shows you all kinds of different numbers. Because, folks, you can really make some costly mistakes if you don't run your numbers ahead of time and understand how all these different concepts work for you. Please consider subscribing. Please share this channel with others. Thank you so much for watching, and please like the video also. And I'd love to hear your comments and even run numbers for you. Thanks for watching.